I'm Ussher from Buzzword Media, and you're all here to learn how you can attract marketing to you rather than go hamster on the wheel, running around trying to find it. So to start with, let's have a look at what that means. What's attraction marketing mean? It's a strategy where clients are attracted to buy from you without being told to do so. So if you've heard of the industry terms inbound and outbound, it's like inbound, but I've made sense of it. It's common language. It's like if it's an inbound strategy, the work's coming to you. If it's outbound, it means you're going out. So that'd be flyers, email marketing, things like that. So inbound strategy is where you've built a profile or you've got a brand recognition that's where you've started to plan for the long term around your brand, around your personal brand, around your business brand. And so the idea is that you can also plant out things such as how you profile in SEO, for example, how you use Google Places in the maps listings and things like that. So all of that is an inbound strategy. It just happens on an ongoing basis without you having to spend money. On an ongoing basis, that is. So the purpose of it is obviously it increases the business identity and product service awareness. Just like you are here, if you're one of the exhibitors that's here, that you're here for these three main reasons. Any marketing we do is these three main reasons. It also increases your business network to strengthen your referrals. So why are we in social media every day, posting posts, sharing communications and information? So that we can actually get past the broader reach of the people that are currently following and know us into those databases and those connections that are second and third levels rather than just the first. It's also obviously to increase the sales leads using organic or paid campaigns. Now, when I say that, and I mentioned before, the free, obviously you're looking at it from the building your brand awareness. So when you think about those features that are in social media where you can put down like lead forms, where you have a free download, white paper, tips, things like that, you're putting it out in social media. It'll last about 5 minutes unless you're a Kardashian. If you've actually put a nominal amount of money to create a lead form in LinkedIn or Facebook, you can start to generate, as they download inside, rather than taking them away and having to set up a sales page on your website or anything, you can actually set that up in Facebook as an ad. So it takes away all of that additional expense that you need to have around your website. You can just literally create the database within Facebook, which is also a nicer user experience for those that, I don't know if you've seen it, but the warnings that you get when you fill in a download form and it says, we're taking you away from LinkedIn. You're about to leave Facebook. They don't want you to leave Facebook. LinkedIn and Facebook don't want to leave you to leave because that's leaving their platform and their marketing, because that's actually why they exist. They want to market to you. So if you actually play the game with them and you use their features to advertise, you'll pay less per click and you'll also probably gain more database. Now, the reason that businesses tend to fail on this type of strategy is that they go in and we are all victims of this. We go in and we think, I haven't posted this week, I haven't shared anything, and we'll go a month and then we'll do something. And then we get busy and then we slow down. And this is when we start marketing, is when we actually don't have our books full. So instead of that, part of the attraction marketing strategy is that you are building up to a point where you might have to start off and then it's exponential. So you don't have to post as often later down the track when you get busy, and it still keeps flowing in because you've done strategic evergreen content, not time-sensitive content. And so part of this, the fail is not having a plan of that content and then not putting in place the process. So it's rather than hamster on the wheel, you actually create a plan for the long term and then just follow a process. And it becomes easy and less exhausting on your brain because you know what you've actually got to create this month. And I tend to, with clients, work on a 90-day plan. So it's 3 months, and if you break that down to 3 posts a week, that's 12 posts. That's not hard when we put it that way, right? So then we plan out 12 posts. Well, what are you profiling this month, these 3 months? What's the biggest? It's seasonal. What happens within this 3 months? Are you doing any events? Are you doing conferences? Are you got key people that you could actually do a behind the scenes? Have you got something you want to achieve, awards, things like that? Those become part of your posts that you plan out. And then once you've got all of that out there, then you can see where the holes are and you think, okay, well, what I want to focus on is content. What's the information that I want to give? And it becomes more relevant to your followers because you're not just filling it on the day with something social all the time. Because if you don't have it, this is what happens. I'm not sure if everybody else has been there, but it's just unrealistic and you will burn out and it doesn't create the results that you're looking for. So, when you plan something naturally, it flows, and this is what, and I just said, it improves the content, improves your connections because it attracts the right clients that you're looking for. And then the other side of it, it detracts the clients that you're not like you're creating content, if it's niched in a specific area or you're putting out packages or downloads, only those that are actually interested in knowing that are going to actually, so if you're concerned that your audiences they're not getting clicked through, then you can look at whether are they clicking on it but they're not filling it out, or are they not actually just scrolling past it. These are the little layers that you need to look at, whether it's your problem or whether it's the audience that you've put. Because sometimes we go for a broad audience thinking that's the better strategy, and in fact you'll actually pay more because if people scan past it, if there's more people, it's a percentage of this game. If more people scan past it, you're going to pay more because you're not relevant to your audience that you've selected. So the more that you niche the audience that you're after, because we're all local businesses, we don't need thousands of clients ringing the phone. And that's another part of the strategy and the plan. How many do you need? How many do you need to be busy? Do you know? For me, it's 15. That's my top. Once I hit 15, I say no. I can't take on any more. Otherwise, I'm not sleeping. And I can't duplicate myself. And so knowing this plan is in place, obviously I mentioned that it's also relevant. It becomes highly relevant and therefore it's a no-brainer. Why wouldn't I work with you? Because you are sharing all the information I need. Your website has all of the downloads and resources that you seem to know. You're walking the talk. How do we create that? So, I've got to stay behind here, sorry guys. So elevating your business in authority and product service credibility. Again, you profile this. So if you have 12 posts and you think in that quarter, I only have to have one exceptional offer, and that's the one that you focus on, and then everything else is built around it. That's what that product or service is. The rest of it is the authority stuff that builds around it, because they will do research. They won't just buy in. They'll do their research. So they'll go and look at what else you're doing on that topic to know whether you are the right person to invest in on that topic. So that's part of the credibility and service when you plan your content properly. Obviously, the natural engagement of connections. If you're sharing content that people are engaging with, that will increase your connections, because we all are very familiar with getting those notifications that said, Eric Young just like your Lee Ussher's blah, blah, blah. So I might be a person that's not connected to Eric Young, I'm connected to Lee Ussher. But now I'm going to go, maybe I need to go and find out who Eric Young is. And we do that. We look underneath our friends' posts. Oh, they got so much engagement. Oh, 4 people shared it. Who were they? And we look at that, because if we hover, you actually you can see who their profiles are. Which brings me to another little hack tip. If you are building your network that way, organically, when you hover, if you want to be found, keep it short. There are a lot of people who think that by keyword stuffing their titles that they will actually get found in searches. Hand up the last time you actually searched for someone in LinkedIn or Facebook under a keyword. It's not how we do, it's not how we socialise. We actually socialise through second and third party contacts and those notifications that we're being fed. So if I'm hovering and I see Eric Young, business growth strategist or business growth exit specialist, I know exactly what he does. And then I might, because it's in those first 5 words. So if you've got director, business owner, you're telling me SWAT. So you need to think about those keywords, but you also need to think the titles don't matter. It's more about what is it that you deliver to me. What's in it for me? The we FM, if you've heard of that little term. What's in it for me is the reader, because that's going to draw attention to you more. It's also thinking about the authority and credibility, how you can use that as well for, just going to set my timer so I don't run into your time. It's also looking at it from a credibility point of view. I do a lot of training, a lot of workshops, speaking, and that's part of my role. That's part of my marketing lead role too. So that is if people are going to be looking for me, sometimes it's better that I actually put that I'm a speaker trainer, not that I'm a digital marketing specialist. And it enhances your sales and leads. Well, we've talked about that as well just then. So now, let's talk more about that influence and authority. And I don't want you to just think about it from a personal branding as well. I know a lot of small businesses, we do business with people we know, like and trust. We hear that over and over and over again. So it is important to remember that if you are a small business, you will have to get over that hurdle that part of you is that brand. We don't separate. In a small business, we really find it very difficult to separate between, people know I've got kids. People know lots of things about me. How much of that you share online is up to you, but remember that it's important to keep it relevant. We all know that there are businesses around us that we avoid as well. So as much as you have a reputation, it's up to you whether you decide it's positive or negative, and that comes into the delivery of what you give people. So that experience that you give to clients, you will attract what you do, is the way I look at it. If I'm going to be this person that is always negative about everybody else around me and complains about my clients on social media, is that going to attract more clients? Not at all. So think about it when you want to do those rants. Pick up the phone instead and talk to your closest friend or colleague rather than put it out on social media. And this brings me back to the exponential. So you may need to this is a long game, a little bit like SEO. So you building a profile takes time. Now, I've been in this business for nearly 15 years, as Stephen would know. Started at council. So starting in the beginning when you're doing workshops, it can start small, and my profile then built up where I've done international conferences. Do I still do small business workshops? You better believe it, because small local business is my business. So I don't need to do as many, and I certainly look at how you can repurpose some of that content. Always have videos, photos. If it's not being covered by the event itself, get a friend to come along and do it for you, because that then helps you build your profile as that person who is going to put their hand up and speak on your industry. Being one of an industry profiles is one of the easiest and quickest ways to leverage yourself against the competition. Having your personality, when you add to that, is actually what's going to differentiate you from the competition that cannot be copied. They can copy your services, they can copy your products, but they cannot copy you. So that's why personal branding is such a strong element and such a competitive place for small businesses to gain bigger business work, because they want to work with you. And of course, as that builds, you don't have to plug in as much on the social posts around that, because it starts to attract people who follow you just for your information there. Content IDs. I'll switch this around here. I'm so not into standing behind a podium. Content IDs. So I've got a few here that is, I know a lot of us struggle on and overthink it, I think, in terms of what's relevant to businesses and how can you create conversations. This is really key to actually getting into those second and third party connections. If you can think, it's actually relating to your clients, because we know it's not the promotional post. If you're not going to put any advertising behind that promo post, it's not going to last long in the newsfeed. But if you can find a way to make that relevant to the beginning of your day, which is why events are great. People take photos that they're here. Why are they here? Because they're doing business. People that have got got their booths, they're promoting that they're doing. They can tie in their offers by showing off the photos of their social media, which is social. Social first, media second. So if you can make your post social, your business post social, and tie it in, that's the best way to do it, because the algorithm will see the likes and comments, and you'll stay in the newsfeed longer. So they're just examples that I've given. I'm sure that there's more that you can think of, but it's just those little things. Using the features within social media is also a strong, again, that I want to point out. If they've got polls, questions, if you drop down in Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, any of those, they've got all these features. Even in the stories features of Instagram, you can actually share your post and there's a link feature. So if you've got your blogs and you're just not sharing them on Instagram, you're losing links. Like, you can put that blog, you put the post out, share it to features, share it to stories, and use the link feature to create a link, and then store it into your highlights under blogs. Or if you want to do it as simple as that, or if you've got everything under different topics, like different products and service type topics, well then you put that blog under a particular topic with tips on team performance or something. It's a lot of those features will actually get you, and that again just sits there. You've done it once, but it could work for you over and over and over and over, because if you keep sharing stories, what happens is people then go to the next story. That could be the next story in your highlights. So a blog that you've done once and a post you've done once could continue to work for you over months, years. Okay. So where does it start? By the way, that's my husband. We're on that stand out there, Buzzword Media. So JP, if you want to pick his brains, he can help you on this as well. If anything, if you're one of those analytical people that likes the details, he's the person to talk to, especially around Google Ads. Where does it start? Well, it starts with the process. So let's have a look at the process. Creating the quality content. This is where we're going to start. I gave you a few examples before. This is what I want you to always think about when you're creating your content. Is it worthy of stealing? If it's worthy of stealing, then you've got a good piece of content. And you want it to be stolen as long as you've got your branding on it. You don't care if they pull it down and share it across anywhere else, as long as you've got your logo on it. Even if they've just tagged you in it, doesn't matter. It's that it comes back to you. They're all links back to you. And I have 3 E's of content. So if this helps you sort of create that mix of contents, because you want to keep it from being same but different. I love the shortcut use of templates, but they get boring to look at. They might change the photo or the text on them, but you'll see the drop off because everybody sort of feels like they've read it before. They've seen it before. So use them sparingly. Educational, I've done a few, I'm not going to go through them, but here's a few examples of the education, entertaining and engaging. Feel free to take a screenshot of any of this if you want. I don't have a problem with that. I want to talk about, we all sort of fall into the educational side because that tends to be our promo spaces a lot. And so I won't touch on that because I think we all tend to have that down pat. That's the space that we tend to think about when we go to social media because we are using it for marketing. The entertainment, how do we tie this into our business? I want you to think about comics and memes. There's a real trend in visual graphics. I love that when someone gives me an infographic or just a simple graphic that proves a point. You can use those. A lot of those comic guys share it with your own thoughts as the post. And I mean, some of the biggest guys use it. Adam Grant, he's one that I love to follow. There's a few. Robert Ferrero is another one. There's a few, and you just when you're in social media, just go to animations or graphics, cartoons, comics. You'll see, and ones that resonate with you. They're using them for business. They're talking about leadership. They're talking about, it's just wit, and people love that. It's a bit like the inspirational quotes. You put out an inspirational quote, And everybody likes and loves it, and they resonate with it. So sometimes people comment, oh, I thought of such and such when you put that out, or, you know, this is exactly how I feel today. I mean, Mondays, for when I was building my brand, was my coffee posts. I'd start the week on a Monday with my coffee. Now, I get tagged in other people's coffee posts saying, oh, I thought of you while I was here. Oh, you'll love this sign, Lee. And it's like, you know, all over the place where they've met me. So it has a real ripple effect if you try to create some themes around things that you personally can connect with your clients or connections with. Throwbacks, for me, text-based, social, digital, there's a lot of throwbacks that I use, and we tend to do that on a Thursday. So if you team it up with days, there's hashtags you can tap into. Thursday throwbacks, Monday motivations, Wednesday wisdom, Tuesday tips, and then the behind the scenes. Everybody loves the behind the scenes because that creates the FOMO. Like today, if you're here, take photos that you're here, because I can tell you other people are going to go, oh, I should have gone. So there's some examples that I've done. Educational, I don't always do it as a blog or the generic graphics of tips and things. I think about those little snippets like today. I'll get the video footage from today and I'll look for those little golden nuggets and I'll just clip it. And I'll share it out with a post and potentially a link for people to download a free resource to the, I don't know, list of hashtags that I suggest for each day, or list of comic and cartoonists that I recommend, things like that, little downloads like that. Entertaining, that really did happen actually. I just have one of them days, everyone has those days. That actually created a lot of engagement on that. And behind the scenes, well, I was working with a client. Now this is a great way that you can build relationships with your clients, where you can work, instead of just doing the coffee selfies when you do meetings, think about what clients you might be looking after in different ways, where you can create case study stories. I look after a lot of authors, so, you know, they send me the book, we create quotes, I do little flat lays. That was my Friday snack afternoon. We tend to skip dinner and just start from 3, and so I put his book in there and just went, oh, there's a flat lay for him for a weekend post to promote his book. So it's thinking about how you might be able to tie that in with yours, like when you're packing up, clean the office. How often does that happen? Everybody might then start sharing their office photos. That could be a Friday fresh type of thing, start the weekend clean. There's also tapping into the calendar days. If you think about this is Small Business Month, if you're here, use the hashtag on your own post, because then it comes into a new feed of Small Business Month. If you've got Australia Day and you're out, use that. Just think about the themed days and how you can tap into that. What are you doing over Easter? Your Easter, a lot of people just put up that you're closed over blah 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 of Easter. Well, maybe you could be a bit more fun about that. Maybe you could dress the, you know, like you talk about your Easter party, like if you have one in the office or something, and then have that your office hours will be. There's all sorts of competitions and things you can create around it too with your clients. Having parties, taking photos, we all do that. So, I mentioned this before, same but different. It's white noise. If I see the same branded template and then it's just changing out the text, it becomes white noise. Mix it up, okay? Create a couple of templates. If you're thinking 90 days, you've got, say, four tips templates, and you're doing a tip once a month, then that cycles them. They won't see that tips template that is the same. They'll only see it twice in a year. So you're mixing it up a little bit. Canva, if you don't know about Canva, you've been living under a mushroom, but if you go into Canva, there's thousands of templates, and you can put in your brand colours, and it will even give you a whole array if you go into there. Again, the algorithms like it. They like that you mix up file types, so don't always share graphics, don't always share links, mix it up with video. What else can I say? PDFs in LinkedIn is also good. If you have like a little slide deck of tips or carousels, and Instagram is another thing. So don't just always do one image attachment. And use those features, they like that too, Facebook particularly. The learning styles, and that's why you use those different spaces, because I'm, funnily enough, not a video person. I actually prefer to read, because I can scroll and scan to get the nail-bite golden nuggets that I need out of it. Put me in front of a video of 40 minutes that I've got to watch, and I'm just drowning. Sorry, Fred. So, this is just a sample. Now, you may not be able to read that, but I can, if you come and find me at my table at Buzz, I will give you the link to this. That you can copy. It's a Google Drive spreadsheet, so you can copy it over. And the idea is that this is what a typical month looks like that I start with a client. So, I can't move this. So at the beginning, and it's again, at the top, it's got Monday media. On the next week, so each green cell is 3 posts, so you determine how many posts that you can do or achieve in your week. And in general, I do 3 posts, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And Monday in that first one is media, Wednesday is a infographic tip, and then Friday is a testimonial. Now that might be a testimonial as just a graphic quote, it might be that it's a video, it might be, and that might be just that I was talking to them in a Q&A and they've said something really good about us, working with us. It's not that it's a front on where I think that's a bit old school these days, no one's really using those. It's the more natural and more social you can make it look, the more relevant it's going to be to your audience, because they then think it's just happened ad hoc. They don't think it's been staged. As you can see, I will not repeat those 3 in the next week. What I've done is, in that whole month of 12 posts, you will see that not one has been repeated. And that's because I've gone back to those 3 E's and I've planned it out. So the next Wednesday is a wit. So I'm going to share a comic in that week. In the following week, so you'll see that the first one was an infographic tip, but in the 3rd week, it's just a standard tip. Now that might be just one single sentence tip. It might be, 3 ways to, and then a carousel. So depending on your graphic skill and time, but you can plan ahead that way. And then the 3rd is wisdom. Now that could be my quote. A quote from a client, a quote from me, something like So as you can see, if you start to look back on those 3 E's, it's very easy for you to find 12 different posts within the week, in the month, that then means that you don't have to repeat yourself and you don't end up with white noise. Okay, the next part, connections. How do we build those quality connections? Now, for those who know me know I say this a lot. Your network is your net worth. If you've got a network of friends that are not your clients, then it's going to be very hard to build in those 2nd and 3rd degree layers more clients, because they're not talking about you, about your business, they're talking about your social life. So it's really important that in the beginning, it's worth doing a small investment. Hand up if you buy a cup of coffee at least once a week, somewhere. Hand up if you put $5 at least once a week in Facebook ads. What? So, social media. Think about it, just maybe you might have to give up and take the cup from home someday if it's that important, if you cannot budget $5 a week. It's about building your net worth. So if it starts off as just that small single opt-in form in Facebook and LinkedIn, because you can't even afford to do a sales page on your website, do it. Put the $5 a week on it, because that's your coffee. That's just one coffee you're giving up. And it won't give, if it's not a big budget, but it's a beginning. And then that starts to build and attract people that are actually relevant to because you're attracting people who are interested in what you're actually selling. And that way, if they download it, they might start talking about you. Now, obviously, if you've got a bigger budget, you can build a bigger profile quicker. But I'm just saying, that's where it can start. I like this one because we all can resonate with 1 or 2 of these at times. The 3 personality types. My husband's a bit of a ghoster. He pops in and he posts only without socialising with anyone else's. We're all probably a victim of that a little bit. I think we get busy, so we just, I post, I haven't posted for weeks, go in, post, bang. Nobody knows you're there unless you're actually going to go and talk to them. Part of the algorithm is that the more you engage elsewhere on and you're participating in posts, the more your profile will actually come up as relevant to that audience. So if you just stay in your bubble and post, you're just on your soapbox in your own little bubble. Like, the only person that you're influencing is really those that are actually liking your comments. You've got to step out. I think it's also important to sort of think about it from a perspective of, if you're at a social networking face-to-face, do you go up to someone, shove your business card in their face and say, hi, my name's such and such and this is what I do, and then walk off? No. Not at all. You stand there and you listen and you exchange conversation. You really need to think about that in a social networking. It's social networking, so you need to just take at least 5 minutes to just go and like, comment, and can I tell you a little hack? What is being fed to you in Facebook is the most active. So if you're liking and commenting on those posts, then you're going into other people's top news feeds as well. So you can have your hit list where you want to go and connect and you've got those that you love to follow and you just want to nurture, but always look at the ones that have been fed to you. If there's somewhere where you can like and comment, not on the ones that have got thousands of already likes and comments, you're just going to get buried. Again, we're not the Kardashians. So if you're commenting and liking on Kardashian stuff, no one's going to see you. So think about the networks locally. Who are your most active social posters? Go and like and comment on theirs, because you're then going to be found amongst those likes and comments when other people like and comment. Because what they do is they expand and they look. They think, who else is there? Who do I not know? And because they'll like and comment underneath those too. We see it all the time. So take a little bit of time. Can I also say, do it first? We all go and post and then we just think, oh, got that out of the way. Now I'm going to go and socialise. What you've done is just buried your post, particularly in LinkedIn. Because in LinkedIn, if someone goes to your profile, it shows you the last 3 updates that you did. And if the last 3 updates are other people's posts, you're promoting other people's posts on your profile. So always do it last. Do your social networking first, do your post last. Yeah. No, you knew that one. You've heard me say that one before. Yeah. So there's all the different types. So staying within you, taking the time to network, I've just explained all of that to you. Sorry, I reshuffled my slides around recently. Using the hashtags, let me just say, when are we all as small businesses in social media? Is it in the daytime or the nighttime? Nighttime, right? That's not necessarily the most conducive time when others are in LinkedIn. So thinking about your different platforms and thinking about the different kind of posts that you're doing, if they're social and witty, by all means put them in at night time. If they're relevant to your business and blogs and things, tips and stuff, do. Now every one of these social platforms has a scheduling tool now. So there is no excuses as to why you're not posting at the right time. Facebook has it, Instagram has it, even Twitter has it, LinkedIn even has it now. So no excuses why I'm seeing at 10 a.m. a business post on LinkedIn, because I can tell you I'm not about to go and read a blog or take in some educational information at 10 p.m. Yeah. Hashtags. This may or may not be a surprise, but if you're hitting those really big single word hashtags, you're not found. Unless you're a Kardashian. So, because there's 30,000 million hits to that single hashtag. Choose them wisely. They're like Google keywords. Are we all trying to rank and pay? Would you have the budget to pay for a single keyword from Google? Of course not. We go for the long tail keywords. So look for them in hashtags. Look for them. As you type them, there's a drop down. The social media will tell you actually how many use it. So pick that between, unless it's highly relevant, pick it between the 150,000 and up to, say, the mil. Don't go past that 1 mil. If it's highly relevant, obviously use it because it becomes a branded hashtag for you. But using those single hashtags, have a look at how you can extend them to the 2-word hashtag or 3-word hashtags, because those hashtags are not other news feeds. So why do people use up to 30 in Instagram? So that they're in 30 different news feeds that are relevant to those hashtags. Make sure it's relevant to your post, because you can be penalised. If you're using hashtags that is not relevant to the information you're giving, you can be penalised, because what happens is that if people use those hashtags, like the newsfeed, if people use the hashtags and they're scrolling past your information, Instagram doesn't think you're relevant. So it can actually drop you out where you don't get preferenced in your own newsfeed because you're using hashtags that aren't necessarily relevant. It's funny how that algorithm works. But that's what increases your post, which is why a lot of people now don't use the whole 30 hashtags. They're actually only using, say, 15 or so, 10 or 15. In Instagram and LinkedIn, it is recommended that you keep them. Their algorithms are a little bit more sophisticated. It is recommended that you keep it to 3 to 4, because if you stretch past that, it can confuse what you really are niched in, what that post is niched in. And if you have had an opportunity to dig deeper into Facebook under advanced settings, where your videos and posts can select topics, they actually restrict you to only 3. And there's a reason for that. So that's why 3 to 4 hashtags on Facebook and LinkedIn posts is the best strategy. Hope that's helpful, because I know hashtags really confuse a lot of people as to what do I use, when do I use them, how do I use them. So using the social features again, I can't say this enough. Like, if you've just got, rather than doing a whole poll or asking questions a post with a fancy graphic, just use the poll. Just use it, because you'll get more coverage. They love it when you use their features, they'll give you more coverage, especially LinkedIn. And the last one, creating consistent relevance. That delivery. I said this earlier, we buy from people we know, like and trust. If they find you because you delivered something relevant, they're going to keep coming back to you if you keep delivering something relevant, right? Exactly. And they don't even mind it when you get a little social. I mean, I've now started to split some of my social media where Instagram is just social. You want any information, you've got to follow the agency. And that was because we were kind of having this, where I was competing with my own agency. It was like, people would follow me and not necessarily the agency, and then they'd know about me and not necessarily the agency. So then I'm the one that's got to answer inquiry calls about the agency. So I've shifted the gears around what I share socially to, in a sense, deliberately not be relevant to business so much, and kept it just more about what I do out here in this world. Use the platforms where your audience is. I know we all love certain spaces because that's where we love to be, but is it where your clients are? Take time to just post and use those. Like, not everybody loves Twitter or LinkedIn, but if you're in media and you're looking to be connected to media and PR, you need to be in Twitter. That's where the journos are. That's where they actually grab the news from. I've even had, like, when we've had major storms out here, I've just pulled out the camera, taken some video of trying, because we were all detoured past all different streets. That ended up on the news. So, I mean, it's not relevant to my business, but it's like, that's how it works. That's where they go. You see it on Twitter before you see it on the news. So, and they again have hashtag lists that you can follow. So if there's certain things you want to stay, they have trending lists. So if you want to stay on trend and add bits like your opinions on pieces that they're putting out, that's what those journos are looking for. So if you want to become a local commentator, that's the space you need to be. Oops, sorry. The final part here is putting all of it together. So we've talked about how do you get started? How do you do everything that I've just told you to do, right? And realistically, it's that 90-day action plan. And here is where I get people just to write just that first 90 days, one promo that matters most on a sticky, right? And then we build it out from there. So then we build out that 3 months of social media content using the 3 E's. Whether you need to have that sales page or not, or whether it's something that promo can be done using the features in social media. And then you just network, action. Is it going to have a bit of a budget to it? Is it going to put that $5 coffee a week on it? That's the process that we follow. So once you put your plan in place, then we follow that process. And we just repeat and rinse every 90 days with our clients. And I finished right on time. How's that? Thanks everybody. If you need to talk to me, come and find me down at the Buzzword Media booth.
Maybe people can ask you a question.
Oh yes, if you've got any questions, sorry. Thanks, Farid. Yes, Mr. Bear.
What's your sort of, with LinkedIn, this is what I find, like Facebook you want to be posting every day, LinkedIn I would say no, because posts like have a longer shelf life. Do you have like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, like this is how many times per day or per week would be optimal?
I'm going to go back because you're asking a very good question and I didn't really make that, where is it?
I personally think Facebook once a day. It can be twice a day if it's good. LinkedIn maybe 2-3 times a week, something like that.
Now, we all know that the Mr. Mayor's going to have a big following, right? And he's got lots of content, lots of social events that he's got to be at, so he's got no trouble in having content going out, right? Yes, the longevity of your posts in LinkedIn when you have that kind of high relevance score, you do not need to post every day. The reason you post all the time is because you've got content that you have to put out rather than you need to put out. For most of us though, it's monitoring it. You don't want to actually bump out a post. If it's doing really well, take a break, move it, preserve it for another week. You know, it's like, oh, that did really awesome. I'm just going to pump this one that was planned, right? Unless it's something time sensitive that needs to go out, yeah, let it go. So as you can see, the columns downwards I have for the different social media. The post goes in the cell with the link to a graphic if it's on Canva or whatever content management systems you're using. Now, you don't have to fill out every cell. I might put LinkedIn out once a week. Sometimes it's Instagram once a week, depending, or, you know, if I know I'm going to be somewhere where I'm going to do a natural shot rather than, I don't fill it out at all, I might put the hashtags there just so I can go onto my app and go copy and paste to save me time at the event. But having a spreadsheet to help you plan that is a good way to do it. But it's easy to move things too. So on a Google Drive spreadsheet, I love it because I can drag it down. It's like if it's a cell for LinkedIn and it's doing really well, I'll just drag it down to another week or another month, and to keep my sequence of what's going on. It's also good to monitor what kind of file types your audience is, what's getting more engagement. Because the ones that don't are the ones that you need to take out and mix it around. Looking at your 3 E's, you might like to share with, but others might not. Yeah. Any other questions?
So with the Instagram, so how many hashtags do you normally recommend?
The maximum limit is 30. It depends on the type of post that you're doing, content. For example, I've just had a client go through a book launch. So we're using a lot of different hashtags for her around, and we're also using those features for checking location where she's done her book launch, where she's doing signages in the bookstores and things like that. So that again becomes its own little space. When we're on Instagram, we see a great visual somewhere. If they've got that location, we can click on that location to see what else is there to determine whether we want to hang out there. Especially when I've got one girlfriend that does a lot of bushwalking. She's in a bushwalk group. She doesn't always, and I do tell her, please can you put the location tag on this because I need to know where you are. This looks great. But it's, yes, so you need to play with that. It's a hard one, but it's worth doing a bit of research. Again, Facebook and Instagram, if you're using the Meta Business Suite, they actually let you save the hashtags in there, so you can do a little bit of research in there where you click on the hashtag and it'll open it up. You start to type and it'll start to suggest other hashtags for you. So that's how you can start to build up your bank of hashtags. And if you click on them, if there's a little ribbon save, then you can click on that and it'll save it in a little bank, so that next time you go to do a post, you can click on your hashtag saves and just copy paste. Yeah, I know. It is. Yeah, they're getting smarter. So we need that. So yeah, so if that's in the Meta Business Suite space, if you're using that. Yeah.
For ads, I use Facebook ads to pay for.
Yeah.
Right? Generally getting an idea of average time you should be in there before it starts kind of falling off.
Again, you're going to have to monitor your insights, the drop off. If you're using video, as much as, look, there's a bit of an argument around long and short. I find that 30-second is enough. Anything that's social media should be a tease to lead. Your call to action is, social is a tease to lead. It's what are you grabbing them in that first 3 or 5 seconds, and then what have you got to tell them? If it's going to take longer than a minute, you could not necessarily get them to convert on what you're trying to convert them in off the video. So it's really keeping I find that the shorter the clip, the sweeter it is. But if it's something that's highly relevant, highly educational, and not so, you want to do it as a showreel type that sits at the top, pins at the top, and it lasts for about an hour, for months or 12 months is the only time to rotate it, you might want to go a minute long. Yeah. But just look at your insights, because and now Facebook is actually sending you suggestions. So if you see a yeah, so when you see him drop off, if you want to put yours in, yeah. If you see the drop off, then I can't remember what I was telling you now.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Facebook
You get it,
telling you your the post, like how much content, like how much people.
Oh, that's it.
visualize
Facebook's now sending notifications. So if you go into your Meta Suite, at the top there's some highlights. If you're running ads, there's an ads tab. It'll show you which ones they will suggest to you. This is being repeated and dropping off. You might want to switch out the image. You might want to change the post. They're actually giving you suggestions now. Yeah, and if you don't pay attention to that, and you've got your notification set on, they'll actually send you a notification and an email. So, yeah, they're pushing hard for you to change that because they still want money, right?
I got one for you, Lee.
Yes.
Video, 30 seconds video versus 30 seconds reel. And now in the business world, people say reel because a video is just one video, and then reel is like a snapshot of everything that you do. What your preferences are?
It's still a mix. Although I do find reel, and I'll tell you why reels are very popular.
Yeah.
Because it's your full landscape. If you want to take up the landscape in the newsfeed as people scroll through to really get in their face, use that, right? Because how do we usually use social media? We might do our business posts and stuff in front of the laptop, but how are we really using it? On our phone. So if you can do your videos
That way.
portrait as reels, yeah, that's the way to do it. I have a love-hate relationship with that, but and also, because we tend to cover more in a video this way.
Because we've been told,
yeah.
I remember somebody in the
Yeah.
photography video said, always do this way.
Yeah.
And we've been told, and then you realize that,
Yeah.
it's just very little, it doesn't, like
Yeah.
when you do portrait, it's
Yeah.
better, like
Yeah.
visually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is this way. Canva has that as a default if you go in there and you want to fix your videos up. Particularly if you do still like doing it this way, you can drop them into Canva and expand it out. So as long as you give yourself so I know some people still on Instagram thinking about the center when you're doing videos, if you can do the grid on your phone so that you can keep yourself centered so that when it uploads you don't crop your head here. So yeah, good. All right, I better let Fred